What if I told you Clash Royale has killed more cards than it has ever released? I'm serious. Some of these cards were so broken, Supercell didn't even let them see daylight. Others were so weird, they probably scared the devs themselves. Today, we're digging into scrapped ideas, unreleased cards, and early concepts that were never meant to reach the arena. And trust me, some of these would have completely changed Clash Royale forever. Let's start with one of the creepiest ones. 1. Lava Golem, the ground lava hound. Back in 2018, something strange was found hiding in the game files. A card called the Lava Golem. And no, this wasn't just a reskin. This thing looked like a ground version of the Lava Hound. Instead of flying, it came out of the ground, leaving behind a literal lava crater. Even weirder, it didn't walk. It looked like it rolled toward targets, almost like a burning bowling ball of death. The in-game description mentioned creatures living deep underground and coming up to steal buildings. So yeah, this thing was meant to be terrifying. Sadly, Supercell never touched it again. Probably for the best. Ground lava hound sounds illegal. 2. Spears, arrows, but goblin style. Next up is a card that sounds simple, almost too simple. Spears. The description literally said toss a pile of goblin spears onto enemies. So basically arrows, but pointier. This was likely tested as a goblin-themed spell, but it never made it past early ideas. Maybe it felt redundant, or maybe Supercell realized arrows already ruin enough pushes. Either way, spears quietly disappeared. 3. Giant Minion, the Forgotten Hybrid. This one is interesting. The giant minion was a huge minion with tiny wings that could be hit by both air and ground troops, so it hovered, but not safely. And based on the only image we have, it looks like it spawned smaller creatures when damaged, kind of like mites. Think of it as a flying yeti before that idea even existed. The concept was eventually scrapped, but parts of it clearly lived on in other Supercell games. 4. The Flower, yes, an actual plant. No joke, this was a real concept, a literal man-eating flower. There's almost no info on it, but judging by the art, it looked like one of those plants that just eats anything in front of it. There was also a goblin linked to this concept, possibly resetting the plant so it could attack again. Was it goofy? Absolutely. Would it have been terrifying in-game? Probably. 5. Ice Wizard Tower, the ultimate defense. Imagine a wizard tower, but instead of splash damage, it slows everything. That was the Ice Wizard Tower, planned as the first legendary building all the way back in 2016. And it worked too well. Supercell admitted it made games painfully slow. Pushes died instantly. Matches turned into Ice Age stalemates. So it was scrapped before launch. And Clash Royale stayed playable. 6. Hologram Tower, the ultimate bait. This one is sneaky. The Hologram Tower was a fake building. You place it anywhere. Troops walk toward it. And then, poof, it disappears. No damage, no attack, just psychological warfare. Basically a mind game card. Probably cheap elixir meant to waste enemy pushes. Fun idea, but too confusing and niche to survive testing. 7. Royal Army. Before Rascals existed, there was the Royal Army. 1 knight, 2 archers, that's it. It was Supercell's first attempt at combining melee and ranged units into one card. The mechanics worked, but the characters weren't unique enough, so the idea lived on, just with new faces. The end. 8. Neutral Wizard. Before King Tower's early Clash Royale didn't even have King Towers. Instead, there was a wizard in the middle. He shot fireballs, could get knocked out, and even lost his hat mid-match. Not a playable card, but such a cool piece of forgotten history. 9. Sneaky Archers. Too dangerous to exist. These archers spawned invisible. For a few seconds, they couldn't be targeted at all. Sounds fun. Until you realize how broken that is. This mechanic was shelved fast, but the idea of invisibility clearly stuck around in future designs. 10. Dark Elixir Collector. The currency that never was. When Evolutions launched, players found references to Dark Elixir in the game files, including a Dark Elixir Collector. At one point, Evolutions may have required a second resource, but that entire system was scrapped, and with it, the collector vanished. And that's it. Every unreleased card Clash Royale decided was too weird, too broken, or too dangerous for the arena. Which one do you think should have made it into the game? And which one are you glad never existed? If you enjoyed this deep dive, YouTube thinks you'll like this next video right here. I'll see you in the next one.